Hello and welcome to Carla Knits. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and always all of the yarny goodness. Today is Sunday, December 14th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Nebraska. In today's video, I am going to be sharing some upcoming plans for December starting today, and this is kind of my introduction video. So have you heard of the 12 cast-ons of Christmas? I had not until last year, and I followed Jen on the Stash-down Diaries, and she did this last year and had 12 cast-ons, I believe starting in December and going into January. And I just thought, what a fun idea was this? And so I'm going to link her video, and then she got the idea, I believe, from the podcast YarnNYarns. That's Angela, who I think started this. But the idea is that you could cast on 12 items, kind of going along with the 12 days of Christmas. And I believe the 12 days of Christmas typically start on December 12th and go through January 6th, but I am doing mine early. We had a little wooden Christmas tree that had a hook for 12 ornaments, and we always started that little calendar on December 14th, which happens to be my son Ryan's birthday. And so they were tiny little wooden presents, stars, snowmen, just little cute Christmas things. And then we would get to hang one each day from the 14th up through December 25th. So I thought I would kind of go along with that schedule. So I want to share my plans for the 12 cast-ons of Christmas. If you followed in my last regular podcast, I shared that I was I am overwhelmed by my stash, and I have been pulling out different projects, identifying things that I have wanted to make for a very long time and just kept calling them someday projects. Someday I'll get to that. Oh, someday I'll do that. Well, someday never happens and new projects come along, which, you know, they do, and that's okay too. But there are so many beautiful yarns that I want to use, and so I pulled off a number of projects that I want to do. For the 12 cast-ons of Christmas, I will be casting on 12 things. My idea is to cast one on a day, each day for 12 days. We'll see how that goes. Things come up, so, you know, we'll have to be a little flexible if we miss a day or two in there. But I have actually pulled 18 different projects. I'm going to share those projects with you. I've got them listed on paper, and when I am done, I'm going to cut these apart, cut each little strip apart with the project and the yarn that I'm going to use, and I'm going to put it in this cute bag. This is a bag by Susan of Delightful Works. I just got this. This is a beautiful red corduroy bag. It has some Christmassy peppermints in the lining, and I thought, what a fun way to kickstart this Christmas make-along for myself. So I'll be putting little strips of paper in and drawing. And so I have 18 that I'm going to share with you, and I have many more projects that I could make. I have more lists, but I identified these 18 projects with, yes, I would absolutely enjoy casting these on right now. I shared in the last podcast I wasn't ready to cast on a sweater, so you will not see any sweaters in here. Some of these are smaller projects, some of these are bigger projects, but I'm going to share them with you, and then I will cut these up, put them in the red basket, and we will see what comes for day one. So let's dive into what projects I will be picking from. So the first is the Cable All the Way Hat by Lisa Overby. And I have this beautiful Metal and Tosh yarn that I got this fall from Yarn Harbor in Duluth when I went and visited my husband's Aunt Gail. And it is a color exclusive to that Yarn Harbor shop called Lakeside. And I know this will be a fun, quick, easy project, but a bulky, I guess they categorize this as I think they actually categorize it as a 4, but it seems a little, at least an Aran weight. So I think that will be fun to use in that hat, a very fun remembrance of our trip to Duluth. All right, second project will be the Grid Gambit by Samantha Guerin. This is something I have been looking at for a while, and this summer or this fall I purchased a kit from Purl's yarn shop, and I have these two yarns that would go in it. This is Emma's Yarn DK base in the julep colorway, and I love that green. That is so pretty. And then a skein of Spin Cycle yarns, which is probably categorized as a sport weight, and it's in the midsummer colorway. Yep, sport weight. So using those two yarns. Next up is the Florentines blanket, and I did not take these out of the bag. I should say I had all of these kitted up in bags, and then I realized, okay, it's going to be really loud if I'm digging in all these plastic bags, you know, to share this with you. So all of the yarns mostly are out of the bags, but I did not want to take this. I have this bag of 24 minis, 25 minis, I believe. This was an advent calendar a couple years ago from Suburban Stitcher, all pinks, which I absolutely love, and it has taken me a while to figure out what project I want to do, but I have settled on the Florentines blanket by Sandra Paul. It is a crochet pattern. I have seen a couple people make this, and I think it is absolutely beautiful. So I believe you hold the yarns, the minis, double. I think that's right. I haven't really dug into the pattern yet, but I think you hold them double. And then I will need a background color, so you will have squares, you will need a joining color and a border color. So I plan to hopefully use yarns from Stash for all of that, but this is the main star of that blanket, all of those pinks. The next project is called Baby Blanket by JoAnne Turcotte. I made this a number of years ago, and it's not really a full baby blanket. It's more like, I'm just reaching the yarns here. It's more of a little lovey size, and I have these yarns, which I got from Imagine It Yarn Shop in Omaha, Nebraska. These are so soft. I don't even know if they make these anymore. This is Plymouth Yarn Heaven. You can just see how beautiful fuzzy that is. And this is Plymouth Yarn Oh My. And this is the palest light pink. I had bought 2 sets of these. I had one to make a little girl one and one to make a boy. And I made this for my younger brother David. His first child was a boy, and he's 9 now, I think. So it was definitely a while ago. So I made that for him, and I know they used it a lot for him, and he really enjoyed that. So I don't have a baby in mind to make this for, but I thought this would be fun. It's been something that I've wanted to make again. The yarn has been sitting on my shelf, so I thought it was time to do that. The next is called the Hi-Ho Wrap by Cori Eichelberger. I've got some yarn that's kind of coming undone here. When this design came out, I just thought this was so fun. I have the yarn kit that goes with it from Toad Hollow Yarns. And maybe someone can tell me, are they still dyeing yarns? I think they did for a while, then they didn't for a while, and then they were back to dyeing yarns. So I'm not really sure about that. But it comes with this cream with some black speckles, and then it comes with this. I did not take out these minis, these kind of rainbowish minis. And I even had purchased the buttons to go along with it. It's kind of a Snow White, hi-ho, hi-ho. It's off to work we go. So Snow White themed buttons. Which you probably, yeah, I don't know that you'd be able to see, but I got these buttons on Etsy to go with the kit. It's got the queen, it's got some dwarves, and it's got a button with Snow White on it. So just a really fun, whimsical pattern that I just really thought was super cute. So it's on my list. The next is what are called Hymnal gloves. And I have a picture of it here, which I don't know how well you will be able to see this. So this is a kit I purchased when I went to a yarn festival hosted by the Brown Sheep Yarn Company in Nebraska. And it came with these 3 skeins of yarn or cakes of yarn to use. So you have a really fluffy mohair, which you'll hold, I think, with the white, partially with the white or partially with the colored. But Hymnal gloves, the pattern is actually called Rocky Mountain Hand Warmers by Linda Hellberg George. But Hymnal gloves, we were told that, you know, in the olden days, you know, in churches it was often cold, so they made what were called hymnal gloves. So you would just have your, maybe this is like the first fingerless mitts back then, and so you'd have your fingers free to turn the pages, but you would keep, you know, you would keep most of your hands warm. And I went to this yarn festival with my friend, well, with several friends, in-person friends, but my friend Lois and I are both organists, and so we really appreciated kind of the history behind this project. And I know she made these mitts a long time ago, and I dug this kit out and I thought this would be fun. It seems like a quick, easy project, so I thought I would try that. All right, this is called One Skein Fabby Angora Mitt by DiAnn Boehm. This was using a yarn kit from the store Yarn Charm, which used to be in Lincoln, Nebraska. I believe they have an online store and have relocated to Omaha, but only have an online store. But this is a beautiful skein from Country Dream Acres, and it's black French Angora. I'm just looking at this. Yeah, I haven't I haven't looked at this in quite a while. And so it looks like probably the spinner of the yarn made this simple little fingerless mitt pattern. And there's a picture of the Angora bunny, but I don't know that you would be able to see that very well. But I've had this as a kit for so many years. I don't even remember when that yarn store went out of business. But I thought, this is just, it feels so luxurious and soft. I thought, oh, what a fun little accessory to make. So I'm excited to include this in my projects to pick from. All right, the next is called Bulky and Mohair Cabled Cowl by Knits All Done. This is a yarn kit that I purchased in at the Stephen B. Yarn Store in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Yes, I believe that is correct. So the idea is that you have 2 bulky, and then you have a skein of mohair that you will hold with it, and it's a pretty cabled cowl. The pattern came with the yarn. All of these patterns that I'm able to link to that are available online, I certainly will do that in the description box down below if you're interested in any of these patterns. But I love this pinky purple beautiful variegated and speckled yarn. I just think that is so pretty. So I've had this 4 years maybe. So I'm excited to do that. And again, because it's using that bulky yarn, I think that's going to work up really, really fast. All right, next project is called the Softest Cotton Washcloth by Purl Soho. And I have one here. This was a gift from my friend Lois for my birthday this year. Hi Lois, if you're watching. And it's a pattern by Purl Soho, and this is just the most luxurious cloth you've ever felt. Well, not only did she gift this to me, but she also gifted me a skein of the yarn to make one of the washcloths. And so I think, again, this will be a very quick project, but it's something I haven't gotten around to yet, but definitely want to do. So I am including this in one of my choices for the 12 cast-ons. All right, I have a shawl, One More Stripe by Melanie Berg. And I saw this shawl and I fell in love with it, and it's been in my favorites for a very long time. I do have the pattern purchased. So I believe all of these patterns, you know, either were included or I do have the patterns for these projects. Yeah, because they're all kitted up. So this is the main color. This is by Swoon Fibers. And to me, it just had such a beachy vibe, and it's actually called Breezy Beach. And I just think that is so pretty. And then it came with these minis to go with it. So there are there are 6 minis, but I think I only need 5 of them. So we will see which ones or which mini I would leave out. But I just think it just seems like such a beach or coastal or ocean kind of colorway. So kind of a beach vibe for the shawl. I absolutely love that. And again, it's been hoping to be knit for a very, very long time. All right, the next pattern is the Perfect Gift Cowl. This is a pattern by Knit Paper Scissors, which is one of my local yarn stores in Lincoln, Nebraska. So it was exclusive to them, that pattern. They designed it. And I bought this yarn a year ago to make these, and it's so silly. It will be worked up really quick. It uses a size 13 US needle, I believe. This is KFI Collection Fur Reel, and this is so incredibly soft. I have a very light pink color called Moluccan Cockatoo, and then this lovely white called Arctic Fox. And so in this, I'm going to, and each of these will make one cowl. So I'm including these together because I will plan, it's my plan to make both of them should I pick that for the 12 skeins of Christmas. Next, I wanted a pattern to use this beautiful yarn. This is YarnSpirations Guerin Colorama Halo Perfect Phasing. The colorway is Orchid Frost. I saw this on a podcast a long time ago, more than a year ago, and I wish it wasn't a podcast that was familiar to me, but the knitter had knit a couple hats with this, and I absolutely loved how this looked, and so I purchased the yarn. I was very influenced, and of course it has sat on my shelf since then. And I tried going back and looking for it, but I couldn't find it. But the pattern that I'm going to use is called Hat for the Homeless. This is just by someone on Ravelry, Kentucky Knitter, that made up her own pattern using this yarn. But looking at all the patterns that people used going along with this yarn, this is the hat that I liked the most. And I know she got several hats from one skein. This is, let's see, it has 481 yards, and it's considered a bulky weight. So I just think that is so pretty. Let's see. I have down to knit a pair of just plain vanilla socks, but what is so special about that is the yarn. I would be using this yarn, Prue Punk Rock Unicorn, in the Provence colorway. This is a yarn that my daughter Jenna purchased for me for souvenir yarn when she went to Washington, D.C. last year, and I have been wanting to make a pair of socks with this, so I thought I would definitely include this. And you know I love knitting socks, so I have to have some socks listed in my projects. All right, the next is called Summer Blues Bunting by Attic 24, and I am not making the blue bunting, but I'm making more of the pinkish bunting. This is by Attic 24, and I got this kit from Wool Warehouse. So it uses these shades of yarn. This is a crochet pattern to make a cute triangular, like granny shape, I believe, granny triangle, using these colors to make a cute bunting. And I thought it might be fun to string that up on here for sometimes, and it came with these buttons. I don't know how well you can see them, but they're pink and they have white polka dots on them. And so I purchased this yarn earlier in 2025. I thought it would be a fun quick project, but I have not got around to it. So this this is included for me to pick from. All right, a few more. I have the Starfall by Michelle Bernstein. This is a cowl using assigned pooling yarn. I have this beautiful yarn from A Chick That Knits, and the colorway is Forget Me Not. And I just thought this is so pretty. I have a couple skeins of yarn specifically for an assigned pooling project, and I wanted to try one. So I do have this pattern, Starfall, so I am excited to try this. So the idea with assigned pooling yarn is that you do a basic stitch, but when you come to a big block of, you know, the color that pops out, you do a different stitch. So I think that will be very fun to work on. I think we're getting some glare from the sun coming in through the shades here, but I just think that is so pretty. The next, a very different yarn for me. This is a very rustic, sheepy kind of yarn. This is 100% pure new wool, and this is by, this is Aran wool from Cori Woolen Mills. And it's in the colorway Bilberry, and it's probably worsted to Aran weight yarn. And I purchased this book this fall. This is Seasonal Slow Knitting by Hannah Thiessen. And if you have not checked this book out and feel the need to have some calm, cozy moments, this could be the book for you to go through. She talks about seasonal knitting. This is from the fall selection, and this is called the Loam Hat. I don't know how well you can see it, but just using one of those, you know, really kind of get back to earth, a really sheepy yarn. I think this will be a very warm winter hat. I assume I probably could get a couple out of here. 365 yards, so definitely 2 hats could be out of here. Let's see, just a couple more. My brother-in-law told my husband Jeff that he would like or that his wife, my sister-in-law Patty, would really like another pair of socks from Carla. And of course they told me this a couple days ago, which I said, okay, I can't get these done for Christmas at all. But I will do it for next year. But I did knit her a pair of socks using Patton's Croy yarn in a very light, neutral, grayish, beigeish, and she loved them. And I knit using my regular size 1 64 stitch, which was fine, except it just felt a little dense, which is really nice for a pair of socks, but it wasn't as nice on my hands. So I want to try the pattern My Patton's Croy Socks by Sarah Turner, and I'm going to use this yarn, which is in my stash. This is Brown Rose Marl. I got this from, if you have been here quite a while, a man brought over his wife's stash when she was no longer with us. And so this was something that I had pulled from her stash. I just think this is a really nice color. And my friends, you know, I thought, okay, you know, Patty had wanted a neutral color before, and I don't have a lot of neutrals on my shelf. So I told them that I had this color and showed them that, and they thought that was very decent for a neutral color. So I look forward to using that yarn. One more pair of socks. I have the Rose City Rollers, which I've made several, by Mara Catherine Briner. I would like to make these sometime this year before my sister's birthday. She really liked her Rose City rollers. And I have these two beautiful yarns from Melissa of Bellafio Yarns. So they're both 50-gram skeins. This is called Down by the Sea. And this one is called Moana. And my sister Laura definitely likes the bluish colors. So I think these would be really fun to make. So I'm gonna put these together because I would like to gift both of them to her, but we'll see if this gets picked for the 12 Days of Christmas cast on. Finally, last project that I will be picking from is called the Caramel Comfort Blanket by Daisy Cottage Designs, a crochet pattern. And I have 2 skeins of this Yarnspirations Caro Macchiato cakes. I saw a post on Instagram, and I will find it and include a picture of the blanket worked up in this yarn, and I just thought it was so pretty. I have made patterns before by Daisy Cottage Designs, and her designs are very well written, fun to do. So I found this yarn when I was going through all my shelves. It was like tucked underneath back there with some of my knitting needles and other things. So I'm like, that's right, I did want to use this. So those are the projects. I believe that was 18. Let me just double check. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so I guess it was 19. Maybe I'll have to count again. But what I'm going to do is I will pause this right now. I am going to cut each of these apart, fold up the piece of paper, put it in this beautiful bag, and then I will come back on and pick the first one, and we'll see what I'm going to cast on today. Be back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. I have my beautiful red bag here. I've got all of these slips of paper that I cut apart that have all of the projects in here. I'm gonna mix them all around, and we will see what the first project is going to be. And it says The Perfect Gift Cowl by Knit Paper Scissors. So it is using this beautiful fluffy yarn. So I'm going to cast one of these on, and I will try to hop on later and share any progress I make on this for today. So you know, with these projects, there are some smaller projects, some bigger projects, and I don't intend to finish these anytime soon. Certainly some of the smaller ones, yes. But this is definitely stepping a little bit out of my comfort zone. You know, if you've been with me, you know I don't like to have too many projects. Usually 3 to 5 is kind of my comfort zone. But I figured this was kind of a good way to kickstart my year of 2026 using stash yarn. I thought this would just be really fun. So I'm going to go cast on my first project. Thank you for spending time with me. If you would like to do something like this, please let me know. I'd love to hear what you are doing. I know some people are talking about maybe the 12 socks that they want to cast on. Maybe it could be 12 hats. There's just so many different ways you could do this, and you wouldn't have to do it at this time. You could do the 12 cast-ons of the new year. It really could be done anytime. Just kind of make it fun for yourself. So with that, I will say goodbye for right now, and I'm going to go cast this on. Bye-bye. All right, just checking in one more time. So I picked that Perfect Gift Cowl by Knit Paper Scissors. That was a pattern that was designed in-house at the shop, and I picked the two. I had a white yarn and a pink yarn. I picked the white, which is called Arctic Fox. The yarn is For Real, and it is so soft. This is what I have done so far. So this is about maybe 35 minutes of knitting. So I just watched one podcast, a partial other one, and I thought I would hop back on. So it's working up really fast. I don't typically work with big needles, so I don't want to go crazy and try to finish the whole thing today, but it definitely could be done in one day. I'll probably work on this some more tonight, but this was really fun to cast on. The yarn is a dream to work with. It is so soft, and I imagine it will be a beautiful cowl. So that is my first cast on of Christmas. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow with day 2. Take care. Bye-bye.